For the function p of x equals x minus 7 times the quantity x minus 1 squared, when is p of x less than or equal to 0? All right, well, in order to do this, we have to kind of look at three things. Thing number one, what are our zeros? Thing number two is multiplicity, right? And then thing number three is what does the graph look like by using the leading term? And by there, we can make ourselves a sign table. So my zeros are when these guys are equal to 0. So if I have x minus 7, I have a 0 at 7. And if I have x minus 1, I have a 0 at 1. Now what's important here, so I did that part. What's important here is I notice that my multiplicity for 1 is 2. Now what does that look like graphically? That means as this hits the x-axis, it'll bounce right off. Now what I also notice is my leading term is going to be x times x times x. Now why did I underline this twice? Well, because that parentheses is being squared. So I have an x times a parentheses times another parentheses. So x, and x are going to give me a leading term of positive x cubed, no coefficient, well, invisible 1 coefficient. So this is what this tells me. This is a cubic, or as I like to call it, a Drake cubic, because it starts from the bottom and now it's here. See what I did there? I made a song reference to Drake. I hear he's canceled though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sign table. I'm going to make a nice little number line right there. I'm going to label my zeros at 1 and 7. Okay, I know that I'm starting down here. So I'm pretending that this is my x-axis. So I'm starting down here. What I also know is as I approach 1, the multiplicity is 2. So if I were to graph this on a regular coordinate plane, I'm going to hit 1 and ricochet right off. I'm going to come back down, and since the multiplicity of this guy is an odd number, I'm going to go through 7. Now my job is to find out where this is less than or equal to 0. In other words, where is this below or touching the line? I'm allowed to touch the line because it's allowed to be or equal to. So starting from the very beginning, starting at negative infinity, I'm already underneath the line. Okay, still underneath it, still underneath it, still underneath it, still underneath it. Right now I'm barely touching the line, but I'm allowed to touch the line. So I'm still underneath it. I'm still good. Still underneath, still underneath, still underneath, still underneath. And it takes all the way up until 7 before I realize that I'm going to start being in positive land. Now I'm going to include 7 because at 7 we're at 0 and we're allowed to include 0. So everything else is going to be positive. Everything after 7 to positive infinity is going to be positive above the line, which means everything below the line exists from negative infinity to 7, which is going to be B.